there's another issue with religious people in general is that they are afraid of false teachers. It's even in scriptures that you should be wary of false teachers. Now, what most fail to recognize is that what a false teacher really is. Now, if we consider this, if I were to tell you what a false teacher is, then I would simply put it like this. When you meet someone that claims to know spiritual knowledge, that knows how you could live a better life, how you could find your actual soul essence, if such a teacher would say that you need to keep paying, that you need to listen to them non-stop. Hello, welcome back. Today I wanted to discuss with you something that is very important, and as the title suggests, it's about false teachers and fake online gurus. Now, the reason that I'm making this video is because I'm well aware that there are people out there who might be from a state of desperation, be compelled and lured into all sorts of schemes out there that is doing them more damage than actual good. With this we mean they might be investing more money than they get out of it in return. Everybody wants to live a happy life, that's obvious. But sometimes because of our our desperation, we seek out the wrong people and then we end up worse off than we could have actually been if we did it in the right way. So with this video I wanted to share a couple of experiences I've had concerning so-called online gurus and the courses they sold online at the time. Now, these stories date back from 2010, 2009, 2010 and 2011 for the most part in my case, because after I had those experiences I never went back to any of that myself personally. But even to this day there are programs out there that people might follow, but they realize at the end of the day and didn't actually really help them out, or at least the advice and information they found in these courses didn't really bring them the so-called success and wealth that these people seem to claim that they promise through those websites usually. Those websites, right? If you have been in this situation or you're currently in one of them, you probably understand what I mean with this website, because it's all the same. It's like a website that looks like it's a letter, and it always starts with "from the desk" and then the person's name. In this case, the guy selling the course, or it might be a fake name. It's very true, it might actually be fake. They're not even being honest about who they really are. And then it starts something like "Dear friend." Now, looking back at that, it kind of sounds funny to me. Because by opening a letter to random people, calling them your friend, I guess they're more inclined to buy from you. Because this is the point. What these people do is create these websites and they give you these huge promises of massive success. For example, getting super rich within a few months, because that is what they did, right? That is how they made themselves very wealthy. 6-figure incomes, 7-figure incomes. I mean, it goes up and up. Maybe somebody out there one day will claim, I got like a $20 million monthly income, man. Or a 20-figure income. That is pretty unique. If you run into someone like that, my suggestion is that you just run and never look back. I mean, you can get all silly with this, but the problem here is that people do get ripped off and they're left with a bank account even more depleted than it already was, because in most cases, even in my case personally, we end up in these situations where we seek out perhaps the wrong teachers that are not actually helping us out at all. They just want our money. It's because we are trying to figure out a way to get more wealthy, for example. I mean, that is honestly how it went for me. In 2009, I was just about turning 20, and I remember seeing websites like this with these huge claims of people making 6-figure incomes, people around my age even, like in their late teens, early 20s, and I was like, whoa, that's pretty amazing. Like, who wouldn't be, right? You'd be like, that's actually a pretty cool lifestyle that you're portraying through these videos. And then they go as far as to say, you can do the same. I'll teach you how to do it. But before I teach you, you're going to have to pay me a couple $100 at least. That's usually how it goes. Sometimes it's lower, but you see, when it's lower, what happens? 9 times out of 10 is that they're going to try and sell you even more products down the line to get more money from you. It's all about that money for these people. So with me, I was no exception to falling for that for a little bit, because I was just curious about this whole thing called affiliate marketing in the 2000s that I didn't actually know anything about. But you see, you saw all these people claiming they made 6-figure incomes, and I was like, that's so awesome. I mean, I'm willing to at least learn more about it, why not? And I think the sad part in a way was at the time, most of the money that I used in order to invest in this was money that I inherited after my mom passed away. So it was kind of a sad way of wasting my money in that sense. I didn't really get proper value out of that. But these people, of course, were pretty happy. Always that squeaky floor, I know. It's kind of annoying, but at least these people were always happy. Now what happened? Because I'm not going to give you any names. This was already almost a decade ago anyway. I tried looking up some of these programs that I could vaguely remember I reached out to, but it seems that all these websites are long gone. That's another pattern you usually see, is that these sites with these online courses only tend to exist for perhaps a couple of months or a year, and then they just vanish. And then they might create a new program under a different name and alias to scam even more people out of their money. Because what happens is, in my experience, what happened was I paid a guy, I don't think it was a lot, it was like $100, so it wasn't a great loss or anything. I remember paying him that, and then they wanted my contact information, so I was just like, okay, I mean, I'm a customer of theirs, so no big deal there. So I put in my name, my telephone number, my address. I was just like, okay, there you go. And then I was allowed to go into a sort of membership area of their website. And when I looked there, well, there was all sorts of, like, looking back at it now, it was just all generic information, generic suggestions I already heard about through Google searches. Like, you could find it for free online, that's the thing. So I already paid money for stuff that I could essentially have found online, because the so-called guru in question wasn't even really there to answer anything that I would have questions about or would have needed help with. So I would look at the information, and already I felt like, well, I'm glad I didn't waste so much money on this one, because this seems a little weird. Like, if there's thousands of people reading the same advice that you're giving, you know what's going to happen is that thousands of people are going to do that, which automatically makes it a lot more difficult to even build a so-called business with what they were suggesting to begin with. So I was just like, this is like, I don't think this is for me after all. So I kind of let it go for a while. And then I kid you not, out of nowhere, I don't remember the exact time in between me making that purchase and with what is about to happen, because what happened eventually was that I got a phone call from a number I didn't recognize. You see what I just said earlier? I also gave them my phone number. So now things are gonna get interesting. So out of nowhere, this guy from America, I think he was talking in English at least. He was just all like, hey, is this Ranil Gort? You know, because that's my name. I was like, yeah. I mean, I didn't expect a phone call from an English-speaking person to begin with. I never had one before that in my life. But he was all like, yeah, we have your information here, this and that, and it's about affiliate marketing. Are you interested in making like six-figure income? Yes or no, this and that. So what I found out was that the person who called, I think, was a business partner of the guy that I paid for that online course. So they were trying, because they even asked me, like, how did you get into this? They asked me how I got into affiliate marketing. I told them, oh, I just bought a course online. And I put in my information there, and they asked me who they were, and I told them, and I remember distinctly that they sort of sounded like they didn't even know the guy personally. That's so weird. Like, they are acting like they didn't know the course that I was talking about, yet they got my number somehow from them. So I think they sold the information of their customers to other people to generate money even on top of that. That's kind of scummy, man. That's really weird. It's a violation of privacy if you'd ask me. But at the time, again, I wasn't that smart. I had no idea what I got myself into. But ultimately, this guy was all like, if you hand over your credit card information, we'll be able to set up a couple of websites, and we're going to work with great big brands like Coca-Cola and stuff, and you're going to be an affiliate marketer, and you're going to make a lot of money. We'll make sure of that. Well, he had all these big claims as well. And the thing is, the guy that called me wasn't the same guy that I bought the product from either. It was a totally random person, it sounded like. So I was really skeptical about it because it overwhelmed me. I was like, what's this all about? I didn't even plan for any of this. Like, you want my credit card information, this and that. So I remember I made a sort of a story where I said, you know, I have to check with my bank first, because I live in the Netherlands, so credit cards aren't really common. You can get one, you can use one, of course, So I just made up the story, I'll have to check with my bank first, so I can't give it to you, because in the Netherlands we don't really use that anyway, so you just have to wait. So he was like, well, okay, I'll call you back in a couple of days while you check with your bank. Well, in a couple of days he did check with me, and it was the most awkward conversation I ever had, because I knew I had to get rid of this guy somehow, or else he's gonna keep calling me claiming I can make 6 figures if I just hand over my credit card. So I remember telling him, well, you know, I did some checking, and well, the bank didn't really want me to use a credit card at all because of you know, possible risks financially for me. So, see, I made up this whole story because you can easily get a credit card. I mean, but I made that up, and when I did that, the guy was, you could hear the tone of his voice change. Like, it was like he knew, damn, I lost one. Like, this guy is not playing around. He's not gonna give me his credit card. So he sounded annoyed. I can remember this vaguely. Like, he sounded a bit annoyed. And then he hung up the phone. He was like, okay, well, if you ever change your mind, or if you ever want to make 6 figures, well, then you have my contact information and call me back, okay? Bye. And that was the end of it. He never called me back, thank God. But I also changed my number not long after, because I ain't playing games here. I was like, you gotta screw off of me, because I'm not waiting for your calls, right? It's so annoying when you get these sales calls at times. Thankfully, this one only happened specifically for affiliate marketing one time. But that's the thing again. I personally was naive and very curious about how these people were making money. And then even I got exposed to that whole upselling trend, where they sell something to you for a low price, but then they're gonna keep emailing you, or perhaps even trying to call you to sell you stuff for even more money. Because this is the thing also, the guy wanted me to make a down payment of a few $1,000s. And I didn't even know them. And he didn't know the guy that I bought the program from, it sounded like. So it was a weird situation. So if he wanted to be a salesperson, he really screwed that one up, and good for him, because that way I at least didn't get ripped off. He wasn't good enough for me to fall for it. Now that's just one example that you're going to run into online if you're looking for courses that can hopefully help you out in life, create a better, more success for you financially, or whatever else it is that you want to improve in your life. Now, another experience I've had was in 2011 going to a seminar, which afterwards I realized was what they call an LGAT, which stands for Large Group Awareness Training, which is pretty bizarre, I'm gonna tell you. It's like a seminar setting, but when you're in there, there's like thousands of people to begin with. And then what's actually gonna happen there is that they're gonna talk to you about all sorts of great promises, and about the speakers on stage, how they were in huge debt. Because I've heard these stories from other people, even to this day. You can find them online, people talking about this. But I was like, that happened to me as well. That's the experience I've had of them as well. It was this seminar was being sold for very cheaply, and then afterwards, during the seminar, the speaker was a self-proclaimed multi-millionaire, and the other speakers were also multi-millionaires, claimed they were in this huge debt in their lives, and they were having a difficult time in life, and then they figured out how to, you know, become wealthy and successful in their own lives, and now they want to teach us how to become it as well. But then at first you're like, okay, this sounds pretty cool story you got, like this is a pretty interesting life story you're sharing. But then ultimately what it's going to lead up to is that they're going to try to sell you more things. That's the thing, right? You pay a ticket for a seminar assuming you're going to learn something, and the things that you're going to learn are usually very generic, but then they're going to promise you that if you pay them a few $1,000s more right here and there, they're going to give you access to a program, or more specific elite program of theirs, to which you're going to learn more specifically how to become wealthy like them. And I think the risk here is that if you were to do it, the odds are that you're going to have to keep paying them the same amount of money, or they're going to try to sell you even more and more expensive things. Because now we're talking about coaching courses outside of this current event that would cost a couple $1,000s. You know what they do? They say that they sell them for a huge amount of money, then they drop the price, making you feel like right now and here you're getting a good deal, like you're getting a discount, which is already bullshit to begin with. You know, I felt all of that, so I didn't buy anything. I'm just warning you now, I didn't buy any of that crap, because I felt really weird about all of this. I was like, you know, this is kind of fishy, something is weird about this. And first of all, I also didn't come here to spend a couple of $1,000 extra, so I'm not going to do it regardless if all these other people around me, or a lot of them, seem like they're going to do it. You never know if there are even fake visitors at such events. They might be planted there by the organizer, making it seem that these people are excited to buy the program, so you're like, there must be something to it, so then you're inclined to buy it as well, right? Well, I was just standing back and just observed the madness unfold as these people would buy these more expensive programs, hoping to become financially independent. Well, ultimately, that was just one of the courses they offered, but it went up to courses that would cost $30,000, and you would have to travel yourself to a different country for certain meetings, and I saw people even claiming that they paid that right then and there. Like, I remember a few people, especially one woman in particular, who was all excited telling her friends, I think they were, like, oh my god, I just made the purchase, I just paid it for the $30,000 course, I'm gonna go there next year, it's gonna be amazing. To this day, I don't know for sure what happened to her. I didn't ask for details at the time. I just hope things worked out for her, but at the same time, I don't know, man. I really don't know, because ultimately what these events, these large group awareness training events, aka seminars, are aiming to do is that you are going to make the organizer more money. It's never about you, really, and that's what rubs me the wrong way about these gurus and teachers, is that they give you all these promises, but at the end of the day they put them behind huge paywalls. And someone by the name of Ranil Gort, a speaker about consciousness similar to what I'm doing currently, would also say that if somebody asks for money, then he's a fraud. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't ask for money ever in life for anything you do, but if they're asking for huge amounts of money before they would teach you something that you don't know about right now, it's very fishy. It's very, very, very strange. It's hard to pinpoint exactly what it is, but it can cause people to feel like perhaps it's their own fault that they wasted money on these teachers. But the thing is, they manipulate you in a way. They try to get you hyped up for some big dream, and then once you got them hyped up, and you're all like, yeah, I want to go for this, I want such a great life, they're gonna drop it on you that you have to pay thousands of dollars, and then you can get that life. But if you don't do it, that means you're going to be a failure for the rest of your life. It's that sort of manipulation going on. That's why I didn't like it. So this event lasted for 3 days. I was there with a friend and 2 other people. What ended up happening was that on the second day, me and my friend left, and we left the 2 other people we were with as well, because we actually just met them for the first time. We knew them over the internet, but we were at this event together, but we didn't really know these people personally yet enough anyway. So me and my friend were like, okay, we're gonna go out. These people stayed though for the whole event. But I wanted to leave. I was like, their situation is weird, like there's weird energy going on. And of course the speakers would say stuff like, you know, that everybody outside of this group right now, they are the losers. And I guess in that moment in time, we were the losers as well for leaving, right? They didn't necessarily pay attention to us leaving, thankfully. That would have been awkward. We could have just sneak out, so there was no issue there. But it always stuck with me because these events are happening all the time, and they're being advertised online with these great big claims. They're very similar to what we just discussed earlier about the courses. It's a big letter. It's a big sales pitch is what it is, to get your money. What are you going to get in return? Usually rehashed, repackaged information that you could already find out there for free, or even in books. You don't have to spend a lot of money to learn most of their tactics. A lot of the stuff that you'll learn actually makes a lot of sense. That's what I like to say through our own YouTube channel, the work that I do on this channel. I always tell people, you know, if you really take this into consideration, what we're talking about, a lot of it makes a lot of sense. Perhaps these ideas you haven't thought about earlier at times, but then when you think about it, you're like, it actually makes a lot of sense. So it's better to get those sorts of ideas for free, first and foremost. That's why I don't charge people for the information I share. And I never will in this manner that they are doing it. It's mostly a matter, in my case, of if I would have thousands of people, for example, contacting me all the time, well then I would have to charge money, of course, and I'll keep the price reasonable, because after all, I spend most of my time producing videos for my YouTube channel, so, you know, I need to be compensated to a certain extent if I can't work on my main projects in life. So having a reasonable price, that's one of the things you want to keep in mind. And a lot of times the price isn't reasonable to begin with. Because if you're paying even a few dollars for stuff that you could find out there for free online, then this person is basically ripping you off. So they're putting everything, all their claims behind a paywall. That's what I don't like, man. I want people to be careful. I don't want people to feel ripped off and to make the wrong decisions, because ultimately the power in order to improve your life is not in that teacher, even though they want you to believe that, because if you're not part of their work or their course, then everybody's a loser, right? That's bullshit. That's absolutely ridiculous. The power to make yourself successful lies within you, lies within me, and lies within you. It's all up to how you're using your own mind. That's what I'm trying to share people to this channel, and that's what I personally think a good teacher would do, is to freely share what they know. And if people want to pay them, well, they're free to do so, of course. If people want to hire you, they're free to do so if it's their own decision and not through manipulative tactics. That's the point. And there are so many people fall for this. Because I also remember another incident, the third one, where I was about to be recruited into what I now realize is a multi-level marketing company, which is very closely related to a pyramid scheme. And what happened there was the person trying to sell me into the program would, first of all, he would ask me about my dreams and what I really wanted to achieve, again to get me hyped up. And then it was be like, okay, now you gotta pay this package, and you're gonna pay like $1,000, and then every month you're gonna spend a certain amount of money to keep receiving a certain package of goods. In this case, it would be drinks. I kid you not, like supposedly very healthy drinks. And then in order for you to get the money to live those dreams you just discussed about, you're going to have to recruit more people that buy this product. And they recruit more people that buy the product, and then the wealth is shared among everybody. That's what they claim. Already felt wrong to me again. I realize now why it felt wrong for me, because this also was actually not what I was interested in. This showed up in my world out of nowhere because I was part of another coaching program at the time. They thought maybe I could be another person they could sell something to. You see, that is the problem, man. The way I would do business right now, even with YouTube, is if people contact me in private, then I try to respond to them if it's through email. If they want to hire me as their consultant, coach, or whatever, if they need some help understanding the ideas that I usually talk about on my channel, then I take the time to help them out. They do pay me a small fee though for that, but then I do help them out to the best of my ability. But I never share their contact information to other companies and teachers. I never email them about more products that they could buy from me. I mean, I have everything on my YouTube channel basically. Currently I only have 2 books written, or at least the ones in English are currently only 2 of them. But I figured, I don't even want that behind a paywall, so I put those completely for free on my YouTube channel with additional information from me as the author to try to the best of my ability to help people understand how they can create a better life for themselves, no matter what they want to improve, how they can use their minds more effectively to create the results that they want. So it's all there for free. And I think that is that's how I look at it for myself, is that's important. If I want to be a good teacher for people, I want to share what I know freely with the goal that it can help other people. Now what about the money, right? Because we all need to earn money somehow, some way. Well, I'm not going to be lying. I'm going to be totally open about this, the way I see generating money eventually, because right now I got to build to that level again with this YouTube channel, is that if YouTube would pay me, if the videos are monetized, then the beautiful part about all of that is that YouTube could simply pay me, and I don't ever have to really ask anyone for money specifically, so that they can then learn how to live a great life. I think that's the beauty of YouTube and this generation that we're living in. But the sad part is that, of course, this new generation of the internet that isn't even really that old if you think about it, also still operates on that old premise, where in the past, without the internet, you did have to sell somehow to other people. But now, because the world is open to everyone, it's easy to run into all these weird scams and so-called gurus that only try to focus on getting your money without really providing you any value. And then they claim they will provide you value if you pay more and more money. More expensive coaching sessions or something. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I've heard stories about there are people losing tens of thousands of dollars on stuff like this. They really believe that this person could help them, but in the end they lost tens of thousands of dollars. Maybe you're one of them, I hope you're not. But I do want to warn people out there to be very careful of who they're going to pay money in order to supposedly teach them how to become rich or happier or more successful in whatever area of your life. Because so many of them are scams. And if these people really knew how to help you out, you gotta ask yourself, why aren't they smart enough to just do it for free? Because with the internet these days, you can actually do that. You can do what you love to do and get paid for it at the same time, but the payment basically comes from other companies advertising alongside your, well, YouTube videos in this case, or website or whatever, and then you never need to ask anyone for money to begin with. These companies are trying to sell stuff, let them. They set aside budgets on a yearly basis, right? These big corporations, so to them it's just all part of business. And then we all can share the wealth through that manner, while freely sharing these powerful messages on how to help people. Or in this case, to warn you that now that 2020 is coming close, to not fall to the scams out there. Be very, very careful of this. Because most of the information you need in order to succeed that they put behind a huge paywall can be freely found on YouTube, through Google, in books. Many, many times, 99% of the time, the thing you need help with, there have already been authors or YouTubers that have talked about it freely. And if we're talking about authors, well then there's not a huge prize on there usually. So then you've never had to spend thousands of dollars. You see, you feel like you need this teacher to help you out. That's why you feel like, okay, I'm gonna spend thousands of dollars so that this guru is going to help me personally. They're not gonna do it usually because they got it all automated. Their whole systems are automated. It's just to attract potential customers into their business to get their money. It's all automated. You know what that means, right? That there's nobody gonna really reply to you, respond to you. Or at least usually not the guru himself. And if they do, it might be perhaps only a handful of times and then they're slowly drifting out of your life again while you still didn't get back your money because you fell for it. So be very careful. That's all I wanted to share through this video. And with that being said, dear viewer, if you want to create a successful life for yourself, then you should never forget that we are the dreamers. And you know, dreamers can make wonderful things happen for themselves because they know how to use their minds. They're not dependent on other teachers. The teacher can guide you along the way, but it should never be the case that you think that you need them specifically in order to succeed. It's your life, you hold the power to succeed within yourself. You just gotta learn about it and figure out how to use that power that you already have.